Hey there, that is Krishna, one of the principal gods of Hinduism. However, I am definitely not in India anymore. This is Lake Mendocino, Northern California, on an epic sunny day. Out there you can see a mountain with some snow on it. Out that way is the town of Ukiah here. It's a bit windy, so I'm going to continue with this video hiking down this way. Hope to get out of the wind and get some cool views along the way. That is the dam for the lake. It's actually a reservoir, and I'm parked down at the other end down there. And so this video is going to fill in the last couple of days of my recent 6-week trip to India. So the last video that I filmed there was at the city of Oroville near Pondicherry on the Bay of Bengal in southeastern India. And then from there I journeyed towards Bangalore to catch my flight back to the United States here. And I wasn't really in the mood for doing any more filming. For one thing, I had to take a bus from Pondicherry to Bangalore, and that was kind of retracing ground that I'd already filmed in a previous video. And then when I got to Bangalore, I just wasn't really in the mood to do any more filming. I just had one full day in Bangalore, and I was there to meet a friend that I know through YouTube and Facebook and stuff. We'd known each other for quite a while, but our first time meeting in person. She lives in Bangalore, she's Indian, really awesome person, and she has a interesting YouTube channel of her own. Here is a little clip from one of Kartika's videos. And so she is a big reggae fan and on her way to becoming a reggae star, so that's pretty cool. Check the link down below this video if you want to check out her channel. She has a couple of channels. That is on her music channel, and then she also has a channel in which she posts videos about like meditation and yoga and wellness and mental health and general peace of mind and stuff like that. Alright, so I arrived in Bangalore, and I had 2 nights there. I got a really nice hotel room for my last couple of nights in India. And then I had one full day in Bangalore there, which I spent hanging out with Kartika, just walking around the city and checking things out, getting some lunch and stuff like that. The next day, then, my flight left from the Bangalore airport at around 5 in the evening. Now, the thing is that the Bangalore airport is about 40 kilometers or around 30 miles from Bangalore. And if you learned anything about India, especially if you've been there, then you will know that just getting out of, crossing the big cities is a crazy mission. And so I'd heard that it would take about 2 hours from the area where my hotel was. I'd learned that there was an airport bus that went direct from various places within Bangalore to the airport that would be relatively inexpensive. It was an express bus, and so it sounded like a good way to go. Nice trail here. And so the reason that this ended up turning into an insane adventure, getting to the Bangalore airport, was because I didn't heed the advice of Kartika that I should check the times of the bus leaving, because it doesn't leave all that frequently. I'd looked online, kind of tried to figure it out, but it was kind of confusing, especially because I wasn't sure exactly what my leaving point was going to be, because I was just going to find a stop along one of the streets near my hotel. And so I get up in the morning, get all packed up, and I leave my hotel at 10 in the morning. My flight leaves at 5 p.m., so I have 7 hours to get to the airport. So, that is ample time, or at least it should be. But as you will see, things got very strange. And so I walk out of my hotel with my backpack on and hike to a stop for the bus that the owner of my hotel had told me about. I get over there, I confirm with several different people that it is the right stop, and so I start looking for the coming bus. One problem is that I don't know the actual bus number, so I just start asking like every bus that comes along if it's going to the airport. Eventually, then another guy, an Indian man, there at the same bus stop, says to me, the airport express bus left like a few minutes before you got here, and they don't run very frequently, so it's probably going to be at least like another hour or something like that. But then he says, what you can do is take another bus to a more of a main transfer point, and from there, there will be more of the airport buses going, and so that's probably your quickest way to go. So I say, cool, thanks a lot. Catch a bus going to that stop, and it goes maybe 20 minutes or so, and then I get off there. The problem is that stop does not have an apparent place where this bus is supposedly going to stop. And so I ask a rickshaw driver, airport bus, I have the bus number now, so that helps. And so I ask the rickshaw driver, airport bus, is it here? And he says, no, he explains I have to go a little ways away and he'll take me there. He quotes me a price of 200 rupees, which seems a little like overcharging, but I don't know exactly how far we're going, and so I agree to it. Now, I only had 1,300 rupees left on me at that point, other than having to go to a ATM machine to get more cash, which I really didn't want to have to do. The bus, the express bus, was only going to be maybe 400, 500, 600 rupees or so. So I should have had more than enough. Check this out, awesome view. Pardon that wind if it's getting in the way of the audio here. And so I hop in the rickshaw and he gives me a ride like 3 blocks away and then drops me off at this, what looks like a more official bus station. And so I totally got ripped off on that ride, but whatever. I go into the bus station and they say, well, you have to go out to the street to catch the airport bus. So I walk a block back towards where I come from and find a spot where the airport bus apparently is going. And so I start waiting. There's a rickshaw driver there, and I end up talking with him, and he says, no, he doesn't speak hardly any English. It might have been that the airport bus was not going to be coming anytime soon once again. And so he says that he should take me to this other bus station where there's definitely buses going to the airport. He quotes me 150 rupees. And once again, I don't really know how far it's going to be, but I'm just like, okay, let's do this. And I'm just kind of, hoping this makes sense. And so that rickshaw ride ends up being quite a long one, so at least it seems he gave me a fair price. I actually ended up paying him 200 rupees. He drops me off at another bus station, but at least this one looks like more of a major bus station. And so I go into the office there and ask them, when is the next airport bus? And they say 2 p.m. It is now about 12, so it's taken me 2 hours to get to this point, and I'm like nowhere near getting out of the city yet. And now he's saying that the next airport bus isn't until 2. That's 2 hours later. My flight is at 5. He says that the bus will take about an hour and a half, and so that gets me there an hour and a half before my flight. That's if everything goes right. And so that is not acceptable. I'm not going to take my chances on that. Now I asked the gentleman there, who are like the managers of the bus station, how much a taxi would be from there to the airport. And he says 700 rupees. And that kind of amazed me because I thought it would be a lot more than that. Obviously we've at least made some distance in the course of my past couple of rickshaw rides and bus rides and stuff. And so I go out to the rickshaw drivers out of the bus station there and ask them about a ride to the airport. But they suggest taking a taxi, because it's so far obviously, but they say that the place where the taxis leave is somewhere else, away from the bus station. There are no taxis around there for some reason. And so I kind of check things out and, looking around for some taxis maybe going by. So the guys want to charge me 200 rupees to get to that spot where the taxis leave from. And then the taxi is supposedly going to be 900 rupees. At this point, I'm barely going to have enough to cover the cost if everything goes as planned, if that even, makes sense, if they do in fact only charge me 700 rupees. If they charge me 800 rupees, then I'm going to be in a sticky situation. And so finally one of the rickshaw drivers offers to take me to the airport for 800 rupees. And so I say, awesome, let's do it. However long this is going to take, at least I still have plenty of time, even if a rickshaw is slower than a taxi. And so let's just, get moving. I don't want to be sitting around here at the bus station waiting for this bus to show up. And so I hop in the rickshaw and we start cruising. And so we're, making fairly good progress, cruising along, or at least, putt-putting along in this rickshaw. At one point then I see a sign and it says, Bangalore Airport, 25 kilometers. And so we still have a long ways to go. And that is in a rickshaw, which is a pretty slow way to go. At one point, as we're cruising along, the rickshaw driver pulls over randomly and talks to some guy in a car. Talking to him for like 3, 4, 5 minutes. And then finally comes back, gets back in the rickshaw, and we keep on cruising. He does this again. 10 minutes later or something like that. Pulls over and talks to a guy in a car, which I realize is a taxi, and then he comes back and gets back in the rickshaw and keeps on going. This happens, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 times or something, and eventually I realize that basically he's trying to pawn me off onto a taxi because he's, I guess, realized that the airport is further than he thought, that it's not going to be worth it for the 800 rupees. And so he does this again and manages to convince the taxi guy, who is a very young, sort of clean-cut looking guy, to take me. And so this is just a really weird and disconcerting situation. It's middle of nowhere, on the outskirts of Bangalore, like this kind of, godforsaken looking area. And I'm getting passed from one vehicle to another, hoping to hell this isn't some weird scam, or who knows what. But once again, I don't have much choice, and the guy seems, cool enough about it. Both the rickshaw driver and the taxi driver, I didn't get the sense that there was anything nefarious going on here. And so the rickshaw driver asked for 550 rupees. He then says that the taxi is going to cost me 350 rupees. That all sounds fair. The problem is that I only have 890 rupees left. That leaves me 10 rupees short of paying both of these guys. So I offer the guy 540 rupees, and then I pull out 2 euros. I had 4 euros from when I'd been in Europe that I'd pulled out earlier sitting in the rickshaw, because I decided that I was going to give the rickshaw driver everything that I had, all 900 rupees, or 890, and the 4 euros, because it was becoming clear that this was a much longer ride than was worth for only 800 rupees or so. Alright, gonna turn around here, head back down the trail. Getting some great views though. And so I offer the rickshaw driver 540 rupees and 2 euros, and he's okay with that. Get in the taxi and we start going. We're cruising along a lot quicker at least, and it becomes apparent that we're getting fairly close to the airport. At one point I see a sign for a toll booth up ahead. And so now I'm kind of stressed out because I'm thinking, okay, this is supposed to be 350 rupees, but they usually want you to pay the toll booth. I can't imagine that that's going to come out of the 350 rupees that I owe him. He's probably going to want more than that, and then I'm screwed. But the toll booth is not manned. We just drive right through it. It doesn't seem to be one with cameras catching people's license plates or anything like that. And so I think, okay, cool, we're good. Finally, we near the airport, come in. I'm breathing a huge sigh of relief at getting there, and with some time to spare at least. It's like 3 hours before my flight at this point. And just as we're pulling up to the airport for him to drop me off, he says 500 rupees. And I say, what? You said 350. He says, toll booth. I say, no, there was no payment there. You went right through it. Now, I'm pretty sure that he was just trying to get some extra rupees out of me. If I had had 500 rupees, I would have been more than happy to pay him for it. I would have overpaid both of these guys just to get me there safe and sound. But I don't have it. That means I'm going to have to go find an ATM machine and withdraw you know, whatever the smallest amount is, and then come back. And that is going to be a really annoying thing to have to do with my backpack and getting into the airport, and I might have to show proof of my flight and all this. But I have the other €2 because I'd only given €2 to the rickshaw driver of the €4 that I had. And so I explained to him, €2, 70 rupees, €1. This is 140 rupees plus the 350 rupees that I had agreed to. And he seems cool with that. So I am incredibly, incredibly stoked and relieved. Tell him thanks a lot, hop out of there, walk up to the entrance to the airport, and sure enough, they want proof of my flight, which proves challenging to access because of the slow cell phone service there. And then also, once I finally provide him with that, then he says, no leaving the airport. For some reason, you just get one entrance and then you gotta stay in there. And so if I had owed this guy a couple hundred rupees or whatever, and tried to find an ATM, that might have been a impossible or incredibly convoluted situation. So that was a lucky thing, all considering these circumstances. Could have been worse, could have been better, but in the future I will know. When getting to the Bangalore airport, take the tried and true way to go. In fact, I probably would have just gotten a taxi. I hadn't considered that at first because I thought that it would be really expensive. But as it turns out, it probably wouldn't have been all that much more than what I ended up paying, adding up all of those taxis, buses, and rickshaw rides. So, all right, that is the last from India, other than that I'm making a video chronicling my entire trip, the whole 6 weeks of India, that will be coming out sometime soon. All right, thanks for watching. Happy trails.